Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give a couple of minutes. I know some people are filtering in still. Got the lunch rush coming in. How are you, Laura?
Good. How are you?
Oh, surviving, middle of the week, hump day. Happy to be here, though, for sure.
Yes, same.
So thanks so much for joining me today, and a big happy shout out to TMC. Thank them for orchestrating this TMC success story. I know this is somewhat of a new segment, so we're happy to be one of the first ones to be a part of it. I'm joined today by Laura Byram, who is going to be the Director of Mortgage Marketing at FirstBank Mortgage. Thanks so much for joining me today, Laura.
Yes, thank you for having me. And thank you,
Yeah,
TMC. Excited to
yeah,
get this started.
absolutely. And I know that these success stories often highlight partner value, and we're happy to be a part of that. But I also like today's chat to certainly celebrate FirstBank and all the success you have had with social media marketing as well as compliance. That's not an easy task in today's day and age, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can start off the conversation by talking about what services you were searching for with social media monitoring. Laura, I know that FirstBank has been somewhat of an innovator when it comes to social media marketing. There was talk about potential beta testing with TikTok, really increasing that Instagram presence and usage. I know those big eyes. So maybe you could speak to when you were out on the search, as you started to grow and really utilize social media, what was it you were seeking from a solution from a provider?
Oh, absolutely. Well, to be completely honest, I wasn't even searching for anything. I happened to sit in on a TMC call and hear about ActiveComply, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, I need to do this because we felt like we had a good handle on everything. We were monitoring. We had several things set up in place where we were monitoring all of our loan officers' social media. We were able to archive everything, but it was a very manual process. And so when I heard about ActiveComply that took out a lot of the manual work we were doing, that's when I think I immediately contacted TMC and said, I need their phone number. I need a demo today because, we had a good handle on it, but it's so much easier with ActiveComply because we were just spending so much time and energy doing things that we just didn't know we didn't have to be doing because there was a service out there like ActiveComply. So
And you bring up a really good point that as we start to expand on social media, but in all other parts of the business, we've had a really big boom as an industry. A lot of lenders were looking into how can I really make the most of my tech stack? Where can I bring in automation to really make the most out of my human resources to have a really improved customer experience?
Right.
So you had said that having an automated solution was definitely key. It wasn't something you knew you needed, but it was something that really did come in handy. Was that really prompted by rapid growth for FirstBank, or was it truly about improving the tech stack across the board, et cetera?
Well, both. We were rapidly growing. We've added a lot of loan officers over the past year or two, as I'm sure most mortgage companies have with the rates as they've been. But definitely our tech stack. I mean, we really want to encourage our loan officers to get on social media. I think everyone understands that you just have to be there now, but from a marketing standpoint, I want to encourage that. But, the compliance side of me, and, of course, our compliance team wants to make sure that everyone's doing it compliantly, doing what we're supposed to be doing. If an auditor, requests what we're doing online, we're able to give that to them and show how we've proactively reviewed everything. And so this just kind of took the guesswork out of that. Whereas before, and I may be jumping ahead, but before we had everything, we were monitoring, but we were manually going into the loan officers' pages, making sure they had the equal housing logo, because that's not something that a program is going to pick up until ActiveComply. But those are things that we were having to manually do just to make sure. And, we're encouraging the loan officers, get on social media. We might not know if we're checking every month or every quarter, when did they get on social media? And so there was, sometimes a gap there that we may have missed if, they started in January and maybe we didn't look at it until February or, whatever. So.
And what a burden at the end of the quarter, right? As somebody who had to manually do this at a lender when I was on the lender side, I know it can be a daunting task, and there are so many other issues that come up that you have to take care of. And for a depository, you're even more stringently regulated, right? That can be tricky. And we know that regulators aren't necessarily patient people when it comes to their requests for examinations. So maybe that will help us segue into the next item of, you were doing it somewhat manually, and ActiveComply came into play. I'd love to hear about maybe some examples, if you would feel comfortable sharing, about how, when ActiveComply came into play, how the software proved useful when it came to either compliance violations or brand reputation issues.
Oh, sure. Well, I know, like I mentioned, we have grown a lot in the past, 18 months. So when you're onboarding a new loan officer, it's kind of chaos. They're trying to drinking from the fire hose for a little bit. So it's nice that ActiveComply is just already picking those up. If they already have social media, we're able to get on there and say, hey, make sure you update your company or add this logo in. So that's taken out a lot of guesswork of having to go in and search and see what they've got. Don't ever want them to feel like we're being big brother. And you know what I mean? So that's helped to be able to capture that on the back end. And as far as violations, I will say we have not had anything that has just been astronomical, but just being able to even keep a pulse on what's being said online has been great. Even if they're just, saying the word rate online is always not, the best thing that we want people to do. But, if that's a word that's used online, it's been great to be able to see how are people using that. Because that may be able to help us change up our marketing some too. If this seems to be a popular topic of our loan officers, let's see if we can get them some content together that they can share. So it's helped us, from a marketing standpoint, completely unrelated to the compliance aspect. It just kind of helps us keep an ear on what's going on in the industry. So.
That's so true. What we like to say here at ActiveComply is certainly that we view ourselves as a sales enablement tool. We're trying to bridge that gap, right, between marketing and compliance. You want your loan officers to use this really fantastic free tool called social media, where you get that consumer interaction unlike anything else. But how do you sleep at night? Also, if you're in the compliance or marketing team, how can you have that peace of mind? Having some guardrails in place can go a long way so that everybody gets to keep their license together. And I know that with brand reputation and things like that, that's something that depositories are especially aware of and concerned about. We had quite a few lenders turn on terms recently around Ukraine and Russia and the stances, and does that align with who you are as a company? So we're doing our best to stay on the forefront of current events as they pop up as well. We know how that can be impactful for our lender partners.
Well,
so
that you brought that up. Sorry not to cut you off.
No, it's great.
That up. Just a conversation that we've recently had with ActiveComply. I didn't think about monitoring something like that until it was something that you suggested. And it's good just to be able to keep a pulse on things like that. And so that was, a good tip that came from you guys. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thinking just how you think, right? As a marketing compliance department, what could be a keynote? What are lender peers doing? How could that be beneficial to the collective, right? And that's a great segue to talk about how not only is the world ever changing, right? But especially social media. Social media is ever changing, ever evolving, and we've done our best here to match that pace with our innovation as well. So some of the most recent updates was our translations folder, which is, capturing other language advertisements. Do you support that for the rest of the transaction? Is it fair lending initiatives, or is it a UDAP issue, right? Or, we've rolled out TikTok. I know, Laura, you and I have had some extensive conversations about TikTok and how I've had to learn TikTok, right?
Same.
So that's been fun for both of us. So maybe you could speak to what features in the software you have found most useful for you and your team.
Well, TikTok has been a great addition because I don't know TikTok. I don't know if I should admit that publicly, but I am not.
We're getting there.
Yes, I'm getting there on that platform, but not knowing it very well made me nervous about, number one, just using it corporately. And then number two, our loan officers using it. And in my mind, how am I going to be able to monitor this? And funny enough, ActiveComply kicked off the TikTok integration just shortly after we had just started considering using it. So that's been great. It's made me feel comfortable that we can, monitor it, see what's going on, because I've spent the past couple of years keeping my 13-year-old off of TikTok, and that's all I knew. But it's such a great tool. Once I got in there, figured it out. So that's been huge for us, being able to, encourage our loan officers to get on there, give them some tips, and it's a relief for them to know that they can get on TikTok and do things, and that we're helping them to make sure that they stay compliant, because that's something they're, the majority of them are also concerned about.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
They're eager to use these tools, but sometimes they're just as apprehensive as we might be.
100%. And, you mentioned fair lending and UDAP. Those are always concerns and things we're looking out for. So it's nice to have everything in one platform where, even if not even an auditor, but even just our compliance team or anybody else, we can go in there and look, and everything's right there on one platform for us to look into. So,
yeah. And we certainly want to support marketing and compliance teams. Our goal is also to extend that guidance to the sales force as well. We made a TikTok article about some of the really common pitfalls that could be distributed in really simple text, not legal jargon, right? To make the most of it.
That's one thing I wanted to compliment y'all on, because the newsletters that y'all have started sending out, it doesn't have the legalese jargon in there, because it's something I can quickly read, I can understand, and I can either, send that out to my team, reword it, or, however we want to do it, but I can get that out, and it's easily, it's digestible, and it's good on-time tips about what's going on in, social media or marketing, or like you said, any world events, anything that's going on in the compliance world that I might not always have my, pulse on. So it's been extremely helpful.
Stay tuned for our next article, which is going to be about the Meta Business Suite. How soon is virtual reality? We may not know. So that's a great segue into the next question, which is about, our partnership today. I'm so thankful that we get together and I get to pick your brain from a depository standpoint, how depository lenders are advertising and what their biggest fears are. And I'm so thankful to have you as a resource for that. And I'm thankful to TMC for, of course, making initial introductions and connections. Yeah. Perhaps you can speak to what it is that FirstBank looks for in strategic partners as a whole.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I know personally, when I'm looking at partners, I want to feel like they are rooting for us and they're on our team. They understand our business. And that's always huge. If you are mortgage or bank centric, you understand the business, you understand where we're coming from. That's always huge in my book, because you already, know what we're looking for. But just a partner that's going to be able to help us grow our business.
We're trying to see the risk, ahead of time and prepare you with a roadblock if need be, or give guidance on what lender peers are doing. How do you get loan officer buy-in? We agree. We came into being because of other tools in the past being really generic for, the medical industry and things of the like,
right,
where we know we're so nuanced here and highly regulated. You need somebody with that type of background. We hope to provide it. I know we're coming up on time here, so thanks so much for joining me, Laura. Do you have any closing items that you wanted to share?
No, I will thank you guys for being such a good resource of even just to bounce questions off of, or, because you do have, what's going on in compliance and the mortgage industry. And so it's nice to just have someone else to, bounce questions off of or ask. So it's been an invaluable tool for us. I can't recommend it enough. And TMC, thank you for originally making the connection because that's where I originally found you guys. But no, I really appreciate ActiveComply and TMC for hosting us today.
Thank you, Laura. You and I always do that litmus test with each other from time to time. Hey, how are you guys?
Exactly.
So it's great to have that channel 100%. Of communication.
Yes. Yeah. How crazy is this idea?
Yeah. Have you heard of, it's always great, and it's definitely reassuring on both ends. So we definitely appreciate it. But thanks so much for joining me today, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you. You too. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Sure. Bye.